2 slides, are you sure?
Oh, no.
Okay, so today I'm also talking about using problem solving as a teaching strategy. So what will be covered in this lesson, first of all, developing students' problem solving skills as well as their thinking skills. And I'll get you to do a small problem solving activity. We'll talk about the teacher's role during problem solving and how to incorporate ICT into your problem solving strategy. And then finally, how to evaluate the effectiveness of your problem solving. So first of all, developing students' problem solving skills. Students need to develop specific skills in order to be able to solve problems. And as a teacher, it's important to structure learning situations where this can occur. So these approaches can be used. First of all, comparing problems. So encouraging students to think about what strategies they've used in solving other problems. Comparing strategies, so encouraging students to look for different ways to solve the problem, and when one strategy doesn't work, try to identify why and look for new ways to solve it. And valuing the process, so because students are usually more concerned with finding the answer, so it's important to place the emphasis on the process rather than finding the answer. And encouraging students to pose their own questions, because by doing this it makes it more interesting to them if they create their own problems, and so it's more engaging. Okay, so I want you, just with the person next to you, to talk about just for a moment how you'd solve this problem, and if you can think of more than one way that you'd do that. So I'll give you a moment to do that.
Have a go.
Yeah, I do. 63 on top, 90 and then
Oh, wow.
No, I just think it is a call. Is that okay?
Okay, I'll get you to stop there. And if anyone could share any ideas they came up with, did anyone find more than one way to solve it? Yeah?
Yeah, we have to look different ways. One way is multiply it by 20 and then take off 63.
Yeah.
Another way, we could do the sort of traditional sort of 19 times 63 and do the actual calculations and whatnot.
Yeah. Okay. Did anyone have any other ways? Yeah.
we said to grab a calculator.
Yeah. Okay. That's way. So you can see by that there often is more than one way to solve a problem. So it's important to encourage students to look for different ways to solve it, because some ways can be better than others. Like using a calculator might be faster. So that was the answer. Okay, developing students' thinking skills. Before becoming effective problem solvers, students must first become effective thinkers, and they need to learn how to interpret evidence and draw conclusions from that evidence. And that's just a quote there. If you answer a student's question and you have educated her for a day, teach a student how to question and you've educated her for a lifetime. So ways to enhance students' thinking. Focusing skills. So by helping students to focus on specific information and decide what's relevant. Information gathering skills. Helping students identify what information is needed and what the appropriate forms of research are. And analysing it and integrating skills. So teaching students to identify the main ideas and suggest relationships between components of the information and modify their existing knowledge to accommodate the new information. And also evaluating skills. So the teacher's role during problem solving activities, to help the student to analyse and clarify the problem. And this can be done by encouraging students to reduce the problem to a question or put it into their own words. Help students to generate ideas by encouraging them to brainstorm ideas or get them to discuss in pairs or groups, like what we did just now. And help students to evaluate ideas. So this can be done by having students list all the ways that they could solve a problem and identify the strengths and weaknesses of each. So incorporating ICT into your problem solving strategy. The internet is a valuable resource and allows students to engage in the process of seeking information. But you need to make sure students are able to evaluate the information that they find and be able to work independently. So how to ensure students are learning when using the internet. Prompt student thinking with appropriate questions. So if they need help asking things like, why do you think you haven't found the results you wanted from your search? Or how reliable do you think this data is? Encourage students to evaluate the information they find. Because there are a number of unreliable sources on the internet, you need to provide students with guidelines to evaluate the information. Have high expectations of students. This is important because the internet is a vast source of information, so you can expect them to find a lot of information and seek different perspectives on problems. And encourage students to reflect on their experiences. This is because then they can learn from each other about better ways, better strategies for using the internet in the future. So finally, how to evaluate the effectiveness of your problem-solving strategy. This can be done by asking questions like, did students understand that they were solving problems in order to learn the important concepts rather than just to find the answer? And were students willing to take risks? Did you encourage students to persist and figure out problems themselves? Were students able to identify the relevant information that was available to them when solving problems? And also, did you give students opportunities to generate their own problems? Okay, so that's it.
Thank you very much.